We've seen a lot of people saying that Christians are judgmental. Christians are the first people to dismiss you if you do something wrong. Christians are the first people, to distance themselves from people who have done wrong in the past. This is true, but this does not mean that people who are not Christians are better than Christians when it comes to forgiving. I'll give you an example. A lot of people make a lot of mistakes. A lot of people do a lot of things. They do crime, they commit sins. And in our own civil society, what happens that when you commit a crime, you were sent to jail. When you're sent to jail, apparently these days, jails are no longer called prisons. They're called, correctional centers, correction centers, in which the person is going to be corrected. So the thinking should be that, that means in jail, what is being done is to reform the person, is to show them the error of their ways, to show them that they are wrong, to show that, this thing which you're doing is not good. It's not good for society. I mean, it's not good for all people. It's not even good for you, because look at what it has led to. It has led you to be in jail. But herein lies the problem. So the person has committed a crime, goes to jail, does his time. And to some extent, some people do get parole. That means that they see that, they see the error of their ways. Okay, so they decide that, we are gonna release this person from jail because we see that he is remorseful, he sees that he's wrong. But the problem is one, this person has a criminal record that is visible, that should be shown to impossible employers. Why do you do that? I mean, if I went to jail for a crime that I committed, and then from there I was in jail, and you are saying that you see that I see the error of my ways, that I'm remorseful, and then yet again, you enable a prospective employer to see if I have a criminal record. How does that help me? How am I going to go back into society and reintegrate into society and be a productive member of society if I have a criminal record hanging over my head, which makes people not to employ me? How am I supposed to do that? That means that even when you say that you've given me, you have reformed, you have corrected me, and you have seen that I am remorseful and I see the error of my ways, that you still don't want to give me a full opportunity for redemption. You see where the error is there. Because if I was a thief, let's say I was a thief, I was stealing because I didn't have things. I was wrong to steal. I should have worked. I should have, went to school. I should have did all I can to try to earn a living in a way that is not a crime. So I go to jail because of my crime, and I come back. When I come back, I probably studied something. But the problem is one, I have a criminal record, and when I have a criminal record, which the employers can access, that means that I can never really be employed unless someone really is kind enough to say, let me give you an opportunity. Let me give you an opportunity to do something for yourself. And how many people these days are like that? Only few. So that means that because I'm not going to be able to reintegrate into society and to become a better member of society, I'm most likely to go back to crime because I'm not going to be able to make a living. You see, that means the system has not forgiven me. I'm not saying that when a person has committed a crime, the system should not keep a record of their crime. What I'm saying is that the system should not make the record available, for prospective employers, because if you make it available and they're gonna do a criminal check, well, who's gonna employ me? Because I remember once I used to work at a shop, at a grocery shop, where we used to pack stock, and then usually what they will do is that they will hire you, and while you're working they're gonna do a criminal check on your background. And then this guy worked for a week, and then after that they found that he had a criminal record and they had to let him go. You see, so it means that this person is never going to be hired anywhere. I mean, he did his time, he did his, he paid for his crime. Let me just put it like the fact that he paid for his crime, went to jail and came back, he's trying to rebuild his life. He should be given an opportunity to rebuild his life like that. And some employers are going to say, but I cannot risk having a thief working in a shop where it is possible for him to steal again. Well, that is a problem, isn't it? The problem is that a lot of people, we're thinking about making money. We're thinking about being rich. We're not thinking about helping other people so they could also make a living for themselves so that you don't have the crime anymore. I mean, have you not made mistakes in your life? Do you not make a mistake in which you would want to be given an opportunity in the same environment? You see, in the same environment to redeem yourself. Would you not want that? Would you not want, if you make a mistake, if you're a husband, as a married man, would you not want your wife to give you another opportunity to be her husband again? Remember, you made a mistake as a husband. So if you are seeing the error of your ways and you're seeing that you are wrong in the mistake that you have made, would you not want your wife to give you the same opportunity to be a husband again, to be able to break her heart again? Because you're saying that we cannot give someone an opportunity to steal again if we're letting them work in an environment where they might be able to steal. The question becomes this: would you not want your wife to give you an opportunity to break your heart again, but hope that you won't? You see, the thing is that we expect people to do the things that we don't want to do for other people. Everyone will expect to be forgiven. Everyone will want, if they're saying they're sorry, to be forgiven. But how many people are forgiven? And how many people, when they forgive, they truly do wipe the slate clean and say, you know what? You're saying you're wrong. You are, remorseful. You are repentant. I'm going to forgive you, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to prove that indeed you are, remorseful and you are repentant. How many people clearly do that? You see, when a person has done a crime, you will see people with placards, outside court saying that he must go to jail, he must do all this and that. You see, so we are being judgmental in the fact that we don't even try to find what will drive a man or a woman to do things like that. I'm not saying that you are trying to understand means that we are promoting it. So no, you can do that. We're trying to understand. What I'm trying to say is that no person really just want to go out and hurt other people. No person really just want to go out and commit a crime. It's an environment thing. It's a situational thing. And the person sometimes think that they don't have any other way of dealing with the situation than to commit a crime. They don't have any other way of dealing with the situation than to kill this person. You see, so, but it is up to us as members of society claiming to be loving, try to, in our lovingness, trying to understand why. I'm not saying there shouldn't be any criminal proceedings. I'm not saying that people should not go through the criminal justice system, go through the process of being tried and being found guilty or not guilty and be judged if they are found guilty. That should come to pass. But even in jail, that should come to pass. But even in jail, what we must do is that we must go to jail, to prisons, and speak to these people. Why? And be patient, because no one's just going to say the first day that you arrive and say, you know what, I would just like to understand, but why would you, as a man who had everything, just go out and rape a woman? You were married, for God's sake. You have children. They loved you. You had a well-built reputation, which you have built for years. Everyone trusted you. Everyone looked up to you. Why would you do that? This person's not just going to say on the first day, say, this is the problem, because they may not even know that it is the problem. You see, they acted out of instinct. They did what they did because for whatever reason. But it's for us to try to find out why. And then when you find out why, that means we will be able to see in society what are the things which are causing these things. And we'll be able to, in the future, prevent them from happening to other children, or preventing possible rapists in the children who are growing up now, preventing possible murderers and serial killers in the children who are growing up now. Do you see that? But because we're not trying to understand, and the reason why a person will try to understand is a person who is forgiving. A forgiving person will always try to understand why would a person act in the wrong way. You see, that's why I'm saying that why it is only God who forgives. You see, and the worst thing is that even after people have said that they've forgiven you, you can't even make any mistake. So if I was arrested and then I was arrested for theft, and then in the future, let's say everyone knows that I was arrested for theft, and then someone gave me an opportunity to work in their shop, and then they found that something is missing. People just start to look at me. Why? Because they think that since I was a thief before, or I've committed theft before and I went to jail for it, it is obviously has to be me. So they were acting as if it was fine, I'm reformed, and they are fine at the fact that I went to jail, I did my time. But when I come back, the minute something goes wrong, they think that it's me. Why? Because obviously, who's a thief around here except him? So even when they're sitting around, you're having their lunch, they are pointing at me, saying that, it has to be him. Have you heard? Like, this guy has done like 5 years in jail for theft. So no one says that, or come and ask me and say, did you take it? And if I say, no, I didn't take it, and believe me, because they have to believe what I'm telling them, because they have no proof that I did it. Because if there's been a theft in a shop, and then I was convicted of theft in the past, and somebody comes and asks me, are you the one who took it? And then I say no, because there's no evidence. You have to believe me. You understand? So people don't forgive. They try to act like they forgive, but they're just waiting for something to go wrong. And some people even come out and say that, I knew that you never even changed. How many times have you had people telling other people that I knew that you have never changed? You see, I knew that it was you. Even before they even found proof that it's you. And when they do find that it wasn't you, it was another person, they won't even come and apologize to you. What they're going to do, they're going to say that, well, he used to steal, so obviously we're going to think that it's him. They don't even feel bad that they accused you of something that they didn't do. They're saying that because you were a criminal before, then that means that every crime that is committed, especially if it's similar crime, is you. And if they find that it was not you, they accused you falsely, they don't apologize. They say, well, what do you expect? You are the only one who has ever stolen here. So if something goes missing, we have to blame you. So they're not even feeling bad that they were accusing you falsely of a crime that you did not commit. Even in the church, what happens in the church is that, you could find someone who was doing something immoral, like, someone who was probably involved in prostitution or pornography. And then that person comes to church, is repentant, God has done work, he has changed their heart. And then they come there to witness, to bear witness to the glory of the Lord, to the forgiveness, the true forgiveness of God, that God has forgiven them for their sin, for their sexual immorality. And then they're giving, testimony to the church about how God is good, how God is forgiving them. There are already some people in the benches, in the churches saying, no, I don't think she has changed. Look, I don't think she's just saying, look, just give her 6 months. So you have people in the church saying that that person has not changed, even though they cannot see what's in their heart. Do you see that? They are already judging a person who is glorifying God for his work, for his power, for his grace, for his forgiveness, giving testimony. There are already people in the church, in the benches, saying that that person has not changed. Just give them 6 months or a year. They will go back and do what they used to do. Why? Because they don't forgive. It is God who forgives. You see, even Paul in the Bible, a lot of people, every time they see him, they always saw him as that one who was persecuting the church, that one who was fighting the church of Christ. They never even tried to see the work that God has done in him to make him the Paul that he became. And then in case of a person in a church, because they've given him a certain time or her a certain time that, he hasn't changed or she hasn't changed, just give him or her 6 months, they're gonna go back to the sinful life they're using. When they don't change, when they don't go back to their sinful life, when they become even more powerful, that they start to reveal things that the pastor could not reveal from the word of God, these people become resentful. Look at that. They become resentful because now God is using a great sinner, a sinner whom everyone knew that they were a great sinner, to reveal greater things that God did not reveal in them. They become resentful towards God. And they're starting to say, how can God do all these things through her or through him, a known common criminal or a known common prostitute or a person who used to do pornography and all that? Why couldn't God do it in us? You see, they even become hateful towards God. God, how can God do this? We have been in this church for years. And now it is even in the Bible. Remember the story of the prodigal son? The prodigal son who wanted his inheritance from his father so he can go out and spend it with harlots and prostitutes and drunkards and all that. And he blows all his inheritance and he comes back and the father forgives him. Not only does the father forgive him, the father takes him back as his son. While the son saw the error of his ways, was repentant, was remorseful, that he didn't want to be his own father's son anymore. He just wanted to be a servant. Guess what happened to the son who was claiming to be righteous, who was acting like he loved his father, that he really loved his father? But what we do see is that this son who did not go away, who was looking after his father's wealth, who was looking after his father's goods, really all he wanted was his father's goods. He never really wanted his father. He never really wanted the love of his father. He never really, because he was angry when his father took back his own brother. How can you not be happy when God is forgiving another human being? When God is bringing back a lost child into the kingdom, how can you not be happy? The reason why you're not happy is because possibly you are not a child of God. You see, you were just acting. But those sinners outside of the kingdom, they are not acting. They are living their life the way that they want to live it. But when they do change for real. But you have never seen yourself as a sinful person who needs forgiveness from God. You saw yourself as a person who is deserving of forgiveness, who is deserving of all good things from God. So that when God does good to those who have just repented for a while ago, God starts to do great things through them. You are angry that God cannot be doing this good and great things through a person who has just only repented 2 years ago. I've been in the church for 15 years and God has never revealed anything through me. Do you see that? So it is God who truly forgives. Man doesn't truly forgive. If you've done something wrong to them, they still have that image of you being a thief. They still have that image of you being a prostitute. They never remove it from their mind. Why? Because they don't have the Spirit of God. Even those who do have the Spirit of God, they always have doubts. You see, they don't let the will of God come to pass. Let all men who thirst come to Christ. Those who thirst, realizing that sin does not profit. Sin is dangerous. It is only God who's profitable. So they want to come to Him. But the problem is that the people in the kingdom don't want other people in the kingdom. They want the kingdom to themselves. That's why they look down on other people. That's why they call people who, because of their sexual orientation, they look at their names and they say that they deserve to die because they are reprobates. These are the people who are pushing people out of the kingdom. Do you see that? Because they don't have the Spirit of God. So it is God who truly forgives, who truly does when He forgives you. He really cleaned the slate that you start from the beginning as if you've never sinned. That is what being justified means. It means that God has really taken your rap sheet and shielded it and thrown it into the fire. Now, it's not you who's going to burn in the fire. It is your sins which are burning in the fire. You would live. That's what God is like. That's how good God is. But man is not that good. You see, when a person was once committed a crime, all they see is a criminal. When a person was once a prostitute, all they see is a prostitute. They never forgive. But we must learn to forgive. We must learn to give people an opportunity to live again, to do right by God again, to serve God, to be the children of the kingdom. That is what we must learn. And if we struggle with these things, we must pray to God to make it reality in our lives. We must really cry out to God and say, God, there was this person. This person is a former great sinner. I know their sin, but I'm struggling to forgive them. Give me your heart. Give me your spirit so I could be forgiving, so that I could welcome more and more people into the kingdom. Because when you don't forgive, you're not welcoming people in the kingdom. That means you want them out. But this kingdom is not yours. You're merely inheriting it. You're merely a beneficiary in the purpose of God. You don't have any right to be in it. You don't have any more right than the person who's not in it to be in it. This is grace. You are being adopted into the kingdom as grace. You don't deserve to be in it just like any common criminal or common prostitute deserve to be in it. You don't deserve to be in it just like they don't deserve to be in it. You see, it's just that God has been kind to you. God has forgiven you. So you should apply the same thing to other people. When the Bible says that to those whom more is given, more is expected, it doesn't talk about money or charity, or doing good works to man. It means that those who have the knowledge and the Spirit of God, they must apply that Spirit to other people. That Spirit of forgiveness that God applied on you from Himself, and He put His Spirit on you, you must apply that Spirit to other people. Do you see that? You must be just as forgiving as God is. You must be just as loving as God is. You must be just as understanding as God is. And this is an impossibility for a mere man. And this is not even easy for a man who's born again. You see, because there's always be this fight between the flesh and the spirit that God has put in you. So what you have to do is that you have to you have to pray to God to fill you with more and more of His Spirit. And the more that these things challenge you, the more that you see that, you are forgiven, you are born again, but you're still just wicked. But because you are a child of God, you're being reformed, you're being corrected, you are being, regenerated into a new creature. This is a process that is going to go on forever and forever. And the more that you see these struggles that you have, the more you go to God and ask Him to do more, because you need more. You need to have more of His Spirit so you can forgive your fellow brother who has just repented and has received the Spirit also to be part of the kingdom, so that we can be like the God that we claim to worship. You shall be holy as He is holy. So we shall be as forgiving as He is forgiving, because He's forgiving the way that He's forgiving, because He is holy. You see that? So the reason why it is only God who forgives is because God is God. He's not like us. And the reason now we are unable to forgive the way that He forgives is because the body will always use the intellect to judge. Will always judge from appearances. Will always record all these things that the person used to do in the past and not get rid of them from their mouth. Even a person himself sometimes may not be able to forgive themselves. David struggled with forgiving himself. Even when God has said that He's forgiving, David could not forgive himself. So it's not just about not forgiving other people, it's also not forgiving ourselves with the things, because these things are recorded in our intellect and they always come back to be played again. And when they played again, when you truly are transformed, this breaks your heart. How can you have done such a thing against this God who's loving, who has accepted you into His kingdom, who has changed you, made you a child of the kingdom? So God is forgiving because He is who He is. He is God. But because we are His children, we should try to forgive also, so that we could be like Him. Everything that God is, we must aspire to be like. Not that we want to be gods, but to have the same character that He has. In Him is attributes which are divine. That means He's the fountain of them. It is all these things, they are found in Him. In us it becomes virtues which are imputed on us, so that we could be His children, look like Him, live like Him. And I say look like Him, I'm talking in terms of our character, not in terms of our physical photographic image. So that's all that I have to say about why God is the only one who truly forgives. And if you like content like this, you should subscribe to my channel so you can receive more content like this. Thank you for listening.